Have you ever jolted awake at 3 a.m., entirely convinced that a slightly awkward conversation from 5 years ago is the defining moment of your life? If you just nodded your head, welcome to the Midnight Club of Chronic Overthinkers. While the rest of the world is blissfully dreaming, our brains decide it's the perfect time to open 47 mental browser tabs and play a symphony of what ifs. Today, we are diving into the bizarre, exhausting, and strangely relatable midnight habits of a restless mind. Let's count down the top 5 things overthinkers do when their brains absolutely refuse to shut off. Number 1, replaying ancient embarrassments. It is 3:14 a.m., the room is pitch black, and suddenly your brain decides to screen a high-definition replay of that time you waved back at someone who was actually waving to the person behind you. Why does this happen? During the quietest hours of the night, we lack the daytime distractions that normally keep our intrusive thoughts at bay. Without emails to answer or chores to do, your mind searches for stimulation and unfortunately settles on your greatest hits of cringe. This mental time travel triggers a physical stress response, raising your heart rate as if the embarrassment is happening all over again. It's a cruel trick of the nervous system that guarantees sleep is at least another hour away. So instead of counting sheep, you're left counting every social misstep you've made since the 3rd grade. Number 2. Constructing elaborate imaginary arguments. You're lying there in the dark and suddenly you are locked in a heated debate with your boss, your partner, or a totally fictional stranger. The wild part is, you are not just winning these imaginary arguments, you are delivering Oscar-worthy monologues with perfect comebacks. Psychologists suggest this is our brain's way of seeking control and preparing for future conflicts that will probably never happen. We rehearse these scenarios to alleviate anxiety, mapping out every possible response so we won't be caught off guard in real life. But instead of bringing peace, this mental shadowboxing just dumps adrenaline into your bloodstream. Before you know it, you're genuinely furious at someone who is currently fast asleep in their own bed. Number 3, designing entirely new life plans. Sometime around 3:45 a.m., the logic center of your brain clocks out and the wildly ambitious dreamer takes the wheel. Suddenly, quitting your job to become a sustainable goat farmer in the Swiss Alps seems like the most rational and urgent decision you've ever made. Overthinkers often experience a surge of creative problem solving in the middle of the night because the prefrontal cortex is less inhibited. Without the realistic constraints of daylight, your mind paints grand, sweeping visions of a completely reinvented life. You might even grab your phone to furiously research real estate prices in a country you've never visited. Of course, by the time the sun actually comes up, the idea of packing your bags feels completely absurd, leaving you exhausted before the day has even begun. Number 4, the endless what-if spiral. This is the ultimate trap for the midnight overthinker, where a single seemingly innocent thought fractures into a million terrifying possibilities. What if I forgot to lock the front door, which means someone breaks in, which means I lose my laptop, which means I get fired? It's a cognitive distortion called catastrophizing, and the quiet isolation of 3 a.m. is its absolute favorite playground. When you're fatigued, your brain's emotional regulation is compromised, making negative outcomes feel significantly more likely than they actually are. You start connecting dots that don't exist, building an intricate web of disaster from absolutely nothing. Breaking out of this spiral requires immense mental effort, usually involving forcing yourself to focus on the rhythmic sound of your own breathing. Number 5, calculating exact sleep math. You glance at the glowing red numbers on your alarm clock and realize you have exactly 3 hours and 17 minutes until you have to wake up. Immediately, you begin the desperate calculus of trying to figure out if that's enough time to complete 2 full REM cycles. This specific brand of anxiety actually has a name: orthosomnia, or the obsessive pursuit of perfect sleep, which ironically keeps you awake. Every time you check the clock, you reset your brain's alertness, flooding your system with cortisol because you're stressed about not sleeping. The math gets worse and worse. If I fall asleep right this second, I can still get 2 hours, until you're practically bargaining with the universe. It's a vicious cycle that usually ends only when you hear the birds starting to chirp outside your window. If your brain also loves throwing 3 a.m. parties that you desperately want to leave, let me know your wildest late-night thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more relatable deep dives, and hopefully get some actual sleep tonight.